Hello, and thank you again for tuning in to FranCoach's Franchising 101 podcast series. I am Tim Parmeter, founder and CEO of FranCoach and your podcast host. FranCoach is a national search firm. We are dedicated to working with individuals who are interested in owning a franchise. We are partnered with over 500 of the top franchisors in the country, spanning nearly 60 industries. Our goal is to help our clients find the absolute best franchise to own. Our goal of the Franchising 101 podcast series is to help educate people on all aspects of franchise ownership. Today is a topic that virtually everyone asks about some way, shape, or form, and that is very simply, how can I fund a franchise? It's pretty easy to sit there and think, I would love to own one. How do we make that happen? We talked in an earlier episode about the cost structure, virtual versus an office space versus retail versus scaling multiple units. And we'll hit on that just kind of briefly today, but I want to talk more specifically about the ways in which they can be funded. And there are a few. There is almost always some level of liquidity that is required for anything. We always use the analogy of buying a house. If you buy a $300,000 house, I'm sure there are some people that walk in there with $300,000 in cash and say, here you go, give me the keys. But for the most part, we're putting a down payment, $20,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, right, down on that house, the down payment. And then we get our loan to pay the mortgage, right? So think franchising very, very simple with this. And again, depending on the franchise, again, is it retail? Is it something office? Is it virtual? Is it a multi-unit? Will affect this a little bit. But probably the two biggest pathways are going to be through the SBA. Small Business Administration has a couple different loan programs. And we'll go into those more in a second. And then the other one and most people don't realize this is possible, but you can actually tap into your own retirements, a qualified 401k or an IRA to fund a franchise. So let's start there. So the retirement rollover, you'll hear the term ROBS, ROBS, rollover for business startup. These can be used with no penalty or taxes, like when we just make a withdrawal. So if I've got a $300,000 in my 401k, I want to withdraw that. We know we're going to get hammered with usually at least 10% penalties just to withdraw it. Then we're going to get taxed on all of that. We may end up with 50% of that actual money in our pocket. With the rollover, that entire $300,000 gets rolled over, no penalty, no tax, into a separate account that then is basically dispersed. It's kind of your own corporation, and now you're using that money to fund the business. For some folks, this is a very attractive offer. It's an opportunity to essentially diversify, to be in control of the return of our retirement funds, versus trusting the market and what's going on there. Or is there a crazy pandemic coming down the road? Whatever, we're in charge of it. With this, there really is possible to have very, very little, if any, out-of-pocket expense. Some folks fund their entire franchise just on the rollover. Obviously, there's some fees associated with getting started, but they're usually a few $1,000s. And then obviously, just like managing any 401k or retirement fund, there's some ongoing fees with that, but it's your money already. And if you want to use it without penalty, you can do that to fund either the entire franchise opportunity or a portion of it. So that's the ROBS. Then we get into the loans. I mean, there's a couple different levels. There's you'll hear commonly called what's called an express loan through the SBA, and this is for up to $150,000. This is again, obviously for franchises that are in that kind of lower tier investment range. Pretty easy to be eligible for this. Minimum credit score is high sixes, 685, 690. Typically 10 to 20% cash injected into the business. Think your down payment for this. At times it can be slightly less. There's a version of this that's dedicated to the men and women who have served in the military, where that cash injection is significantly less. Don't have to collateralize your home or anything like that from that standpoint. Again, very attractive options for folks that are looking at typically non-retail things. Maybe it's virtual, maybe there's a small office involved with that. And oftentimes this express loan can be the entire funding you need, right? So you've got that. Then for things that are higher investment, there's a 7A loan. That actually can go all the way up to about $5 million for a franchise. Obviously, there's still going to be, there's cash injected, usually 20 to 30%. There is a portion of that loan, even though it's a higher amount, that's still guaranteed by the federal government. So you've got a few different things within the SBA. We have some funding partners that work specifically in each of those areas. So again, we'll help you with that. But there's actually a couple other methods to make this happen. We've worked with folks that sometimes will look at a portfolio loan. So you have the ability to borrow against your stocks, bonds, mutual funds, other securities, rather than liquidating them. So you can do that, and it tends to be a pretty low interest rate. A HELOC, a home equity line of credit. We just had somebody a few months ago funded their entire franchise from a HELOC. They'd been in their home forever, and the interest rate was very low. And again, it was essentially their money versus borrowing anything. So you have that. There are also term loans and unsecured loans that are available, typically lower level amounts, $100,000 to $150,000, much less kind of cash, sometimes actually no cash required up front. They will kind of take that off the back end of the loan. Interest rates can really vary with that, sometimes as low as zero interest for 12, 18 months. Can give people an opportunity sometimes for a lower level investment to get off to a quick start with this. And then there are some for franchises that require equipment, whether it's vehicles or the stuff that's going in the vehicles. Sometimes there are equipment leasing packages. And again, lending organizations that work specifically with franchises on equipment leasing. So again, a wide range of things that are available to folks. The other thing, and again, first of July in 2020, as we talk about this, there are some specific things that are available now that are helpful. The SBA, any loan that closes by the end of September, they're basically waiving the first 6 months of payments for that. So it's a fantastic opportunity for that. You can also tap into your retirement without doing a rollover and without being penalized up to $100,000 now, essentially kind of borrowing it from yourself. And again, we were working with folks that are taking advantage of that, either all or in part of what their franchise investment is going to be required. So if that sounds like a lot of options to fund a franchise, it's because it's a lot of options to fund a franchise. How do you know which is the best one? How do you know where to go for those? That's what we're here for. So again, as we are helping people work through to find the best franchise to own, we're also working with them to find the best funding option for them and for that franchise match. So again, all part of our free service here at FranCoach. So as with all of our podcasts, we hope that the topic of the day is giving you just a quick little insight into the possibilities with franchise ownership. Maybe it makes you feel a little bit more, maybe it feels a little bit more in reach right now, which is great. If so, we would love to talk to you. Again, there's never any fee for our service. You can track us down online, francoach.net. Shoot us a thing online to schedule a call. Also, check out our funding tab on there. There's more information. There's a specific blog. There's a pre-qualification form. All sorts of good tools there. You can also go old school. Shoot us an email, info@ francoach.net or call us directly 602-920-8401. We hope to be able to talk to you soon. We hope this has helped. Please, again, feel free if you have any interest or curiosity, and if now is the time for you to own a franchise, let's talk. Reach out today. Take that first step. Reach out today. Schedule that conversation. And perhaps this will be the first step towards creating your better tomorrow. Thanks so much for tuning in to FranCoach's Franchising 101 podcast series. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and we hope to talk with you soon. Thanks.